Help support Friendo Club by going to patreon.com/Steven Larson or clicking join at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Access to bonus episodes, question threads for the Going In Raw podcast, and entry to our monthly wrestling predictions challenges. Join the Friendo Club today. Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you absolutely need to be listening to. If you're a pro wrestling fan and you're not listening to Going In Raw, hey. Anyway, on today's episode, we're going to talk about last night's AEW Dynamite on the road to AEW Dynasty. Ooh, we got a brand new number one contender for the AEW World title and a new number one contender. Don't we have a number one contender for the TBS title too? Was that determined last night?
Yes.
I think that was, wasn't it?
Yes.
Anyways.
We're getting closer to finding out who's going to compete for the tag titles at Dynasty 2.
Oh, that's right.
Although I think we all know what the match is going to be.
I'm pretty sure I know what that match is going to be. So we're going to talk about everything AEW Dynamite, including Chris Jericho's run-on sentence, and of course, it's the gift that keeps on giving. We're talking about the promo of the year, perhaps. This thing has gotten, listen to this. This is crazy. The CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins promo is at 1.7 million views on YouTube. Rock beating Cody up outside, 1.5 million.
Interesting.
It's outperforming Rock beating the shit out of Cody.
That's the A story of the company.
Right? It's kind of crazy.
Here's the thing. People love those shoot-style promos. They love them.
Yeah.
They love them.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So PW Torches, Wade Keller, has more about that segment, that promo, Punk, Drew, Seth, from Monday's Raw, and also has some details about how CM Punk is viewed by those backstage and how well he's getting along with Seth freaking Rollins.
I've got my Punk Daily at the ready in case this gets spicy, Larson. Unprofessionalism, maybe?
Are you
I'm
ready?
Getting ready.
Keller writes, quote, by all accounts, while Seth harbored legitimate gripes with Punk, the two are getting along backstage when planning their segments. Wait, there's more. Punk continues to get all positive reviews from many sources regarding how he is carrying himself amongst colleagues and management. So, darn it, no Punk Daily theme today. Gosh darn it, I'm so upset about that.
You know, man, Rob Zerver put together that awesome Punk Daily theme song.
It's not a slight at Rob's fantastic Punk Daily theme. Thus, the idea of Punk Daily, the news segment, bit jaded. Old Larson was.
Well, it's grounded in realism, but these days, maybe we need to do like a positive spin on Punk Daily. Maybe Rob can come up with like some sort of nice, I don't know, like something with a nice harp to it, like, I don't know. What was it was like it was TV party, yeah. We're gonna have a Punk party to the Punk Daily tonight. I don't know. He's got a lovely voice. He could do it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Keller has more about the promo segment as well as what Wade had to say. Quote, so while the framework was planned, certain lines were certainly scripted and discussed beforehand. There were some on-the-fly comments that were interjected, something Paul Levesque is encouraging and endorsing, but of course within reason. It's a sign of trust in those three that they were given the green light to engage with each other like that. Not everyone, we're told, would be given that latitude and trust by management. Wait, there's more. Also from Wade Keller. Multiple sources indicate Punk wasn't in trouble for veering into territory that related to the now disgraced former WWE leader Vince McMahon, instead because of how he steered away from it adeptly after a few seconds while still getting the impact he was looking for. As a controversial comment, it was seen as a slick comment that enhanced the tone they were going for. That said, while it was framed as walking right up to the line, it's possible some top executives at TKO might feel differently than those at Raw last night, who were ultimately okay with it. That segment, along with others we've heard recently, Keller here mentions Cody, Roman, Rock, Seth, etc., are designed to feel like they stray into shoot territory by venturing into zones where there is known legitimate heat. That doesn't mean there is or isn't still legitimate tension or heat between the wrestlers who are trolling each other, as Seth characterized it last night, but rather that everyone is willing to set aside any hard feelings to play on those tensions to make the segment generate more buzz. It's a sophisticated worked shoot that pushes just far enough to feel real, but not far enough to feel unprofessional or get overly personal.
Sounds like glowing reviews from everybody, except from some speculative TKO higher ups that may or may not exist and may or may not have an issue with what's going on in the WWE. I would think that they could look at the trust that's been given to these performers and how responsibly they handle that trust. Look at the numbers that all that did and be pretty happy about that. So speculative TKO executives, relax, take it easy, tranquilo. It's all good.
The proof is in the pudding.
It certainly is. It works. It works absolutely, man.
So you would talk more about CM Punk and Seth Rollins, but of course you do, Steve.
All day long, man. All day long. The most interesting thing, obviously, was the Vince McMahon stuff. Going to that line and then backing off and saying, because that's not what the people in San Antonio were calling you. They were chanting CM Punk, CM Punk. And it was a very savvy line. And, from a guy, CM Punk, obviously, he's an incredibly savvy performer. And, but I could imagine there's maybe some people backstage who, when that was who said chosen, probably their assholes puckered, same as everybody else in the audience. And then he brings it back. And that's really where the good stuff is. I mentioned this yesterday on the Raw review as well. Drew McIntyre in the end exposing his own vulnerabilities as a character, I thought really was evidence to me that this isn't a situation like, Edge calling Ricky Starks a rock ripoff and a vanilla midget or whatever the term is, where people are just trying to get themselves over. These guys are open to staying true to character, even if it makes sense for their character to look weak or vulnerable. Yep. And that's where the big entertainment is right there.
Exactly. That's when you get well-rounded performers who are invested in the stories they're telling, portraying the characters that they're portraying.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah, it's great. So speaking of Punk and Rollins, Becky Lynch was on MMA Hour yesterday, I believe. Punk's going to be on it next week on Monday.
Yeah, I don't know what comments Ariel Helwani's had about Punk in the past. If they've been positive or negative, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it'll be interesting to see. That'll be
that's going to be something else.
One. Yeah,
that's going to be something else. So Ariel asked Becky about Punk's surprise return to Survivor Series 2023. What was her reaction to it? They talked about Seth Rollins, her husband's reaction, and whether he felt disrespected about not being kept in the loop regarding Punk's deal to return to WWE. That's what Becky had to say. I was in Gorilla when Punk showed up. There was a fist pound. Then my husband was going crazy by the ring. Then the producers on the headset are going, Seth is freaking out. I'm like, oh no, this is going to be a rough night. She continues later on. The deal happened late, and then Seth, had a match. He was working on his match all day. He felt disrespected. We think of ourselves, we are the universe, everybody. Nobody's going, I want to disrespect you. We may feel disrespected, but nobody is intentionally going, let me disrespect this person. Consideration should be taken into account. You should have told your top stars, of course, but nobody is going out here. They are going, how do I disrespect my top stars, my world champion? How do I disrespect him? Nobody is thinking that.
Maybe a bit in character, maybe keeping kayfabe backstage. Yeah, I don't know. I forget who it was. Somebody had the report that like pretty much everybody was clued in. In the main event, people were clued in this was going to happen afterwards.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I kind of feel like it was a big showy show, and I think Becky's kind of feeding into that, which is great because you got this WrestleMania program coming up, and you want to keep that line blurred as much as possible for our entertainment value for fans like us, dude.
Exactly. Hey, it gives us something to talk about when the lines are blurred, when Seth is ringside getting upset about Punk coming back, and then apparently continuing being upset backstage. There's no cameras, knowing full well that's going to leak out.
Dude, you and I have often been asked the question, keeping kayfabe these days, yay or nay? You know, should people, if you got like, if you're selling a leg injury, you go to the Kroger, you're going to be selling leg injury at the Kroger. You know, to each their own. We know it's a performance, but, you know, if somebody captures on video, you know, somebody hobbling around at the Kroger, hey, that's kind of cool. You know, I buy into it a little bit more. I have a little more respect for people who do that. And if they're going to be keeping a bit more kayfabe backstage, I think that's awesome. I think that's great. Then,
agreed.
Then we'll hear it from those other guys that, oh, wow, they were really mad backstage.
Yes, exactly. Wow. Significant injury?
Do I look hurt to you, dumbass?
So-and-so's knee is all torn up. They can't possibly go grocery shopping at the local Kroger now.
You can't go to Kroger now.
Enough. Fan spots. Famous wrestler.
No.
Not selling leg at Kroger.
Right. Yeah. Oh, man. Those other guys got it wrong. So anyways, yeah, that's good stuff, man. I like that. I like that a lot. What'd you think about Dynamite last night?
I mean, in a lot of respects, it was typical Dynamite. There was some good wrestling.
Yeah, right. Ospreay Takeshita, pretty good match right there.
Yeah, that was great.
I'm sorry, Ospreay Shibata, and then Swerve Takeshita.
Swerve Takeshita. Takeshita is one of those guys that if he's wrestling on TV, that's must watch for me.
It is, yeah, he's up there for sure.
He's a guy that his stuff looks believable and it feels real.
Yeah,
he's got like the best form of the business. I don't know. It looks like he legit knocks people out with that.
Yeah,
people don't feel that like intensely.
Those top three dudes, Ospreay, Swerve, and Takeshita. They need to at some point later in this year, maybe new decree, no more Takeshita L's. He can't be taking any L's, man. He can't be a depth guy. This guy, he's got really build this guy up to be, you know, because you got a couple of really solid baby faces that are probably going to be swapping world titles. You know, Swerve, who got the number one contendership last night. Clearly, come on. What's the percentage that he's going to beat Joe at Dynasty?
The only way that he doesn't beat Joe is if Hangman costs him the match. That's the only way.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way.
You don't think that they would have, because obviously he could do the big surprise thing where he comes out at the end. But again, this is going to main event. There's nothing else I don't think that is. Whoa, whoops, buddy. Swanton. I don't think there's anything else that's going to be main event in this show unless they have like a Mercedes.
Well, they already said. Well, I think either Ospreay or Danielson. I think it was Danielson already said that their match won't be main eventing.
Okay, all right. Is Mercedes even going to have a match?
To the strength of the card. No, Mercedes hasn't been advertised for a match yet. No.
Right, yeah, because they're doing like they're probably going to do the TBS title there, I would think, and that's sort of where she's in the picture.
Yeah.
And then, dude, you think they're going to use Willow for? I'm all over the map right now. I guess we'll start with this: Joe versus Swerve, set for Dynasty. Okay.
Yeah.
You're mentioning Hangman. Now they could totally have his big return be there, costing Swerve. Crowd goes mild because they're like, oh man, you know, Swerve is like one of two hugely over baby faces there. The other being Ospreay.
Yeah.
Everybody wants this for Swerve. This is going to be, if they have Hangman cost him this title, number one, it sets up another loss for Hangman because Swerve is getting this title either at Dynasty or at Double or Nothing. Sometime very soon, he's going to get that title. This is a destiny type situation for him.
Yeah.
With Hangman being out of the picture, like literally off TV, I don't know, like that they would just sort of have him show up to do this. It's entirely possible. We've seen returns like that before.
Yeah. Shocking returns, surprising returns. Yeah.
But I don't know. I kind of feel like this is Swerve's time now, man. It's the right time, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Give him a decent title reign through the majority of the rest of this year, if not the entirety of the year. It seems a certainty at some point within the next 12 to 18 months that Will Ospreay is going to be champion in AEW.
Okay, so let's talk about that really quick because that is sort of a bit of an elephant in the room, right? You got All In coming up. That's in August. That's not that far away.
No, it's not. So if Swerve wins at the end of April, 3 weeks from now, if they do, hypothetically speaking, if they do Swerve Ospreay at All In for the title, and have Ospreay win at Wembley, that's only a 4-month reign for Swerve.
There's another big problem about that. They're both baby faces.
Yeah.
It works when you have a bad guy. It works if you have there. I kind of feel like you can go one of two ways. Swerve is like a brand new baby face. So it's not like he can go back to being a heel between now and then. That's kind of silly. And I think it kills a lot of work that's being done. You got to set these guys up for runs as those personalities to last a little while. Takeshi is a bad guy. He's got to be a bad guy for a while now.
Well, there's at least got to be an organic, motivated reason for him to turn face.
I mean, that's the one thing about Swerve. I think the crowd was just so... It's one of two things. You either do it organically through story, well, it's one of three things, or the crowd won't let you be a good guy. Swerve was such a bad guy. Him being all of a sudden like a super duper babyface, the double turn, I thought it was really fun. Mm-hmm. And for Hangman, it kind of made sense because, you know, he's acting out of desperation. For Swerve, all of a sudden to say, yeah, man, you know that guy that went to that dude's house and threatened his baby? Now I'm a good guy. I didn't mind because the crowd got him there, and he's a convincing promo. Yeah. So I'm like, hey, I'm along on this ride. I've been cheering the guy anyway, so I'm cool, you know, forgiving his past deeds. It wasn't exactly organic.
No, it wasn't, but there could be a road to get him back to heel Swerve because not that long ago, it was a promo after Revolution when he lost. When he thought, well, is this karma coming back at me for all my past misdeeds?
Which I liked. Yeah, I liked that a lot.
And he said to Joe, that Swerve's still here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Still in here.
Yeah.
So if it's a situation where, as babyface, he wins the championship, and over the course of 4 months, to hold on to championship, he starts kind of bit by bit, week after week, month by month, going back to that Swerve to retain title.
4 months, though.
I know. 4
like
months
this level of babyface. What else? Let me ask you this. What else? Because everybody's saying, oh, Ospreay's going to go for the world title at All In. I just don't see it because the Swerve's in the way. And I really think that would absolutely kill him if that happens.
I think to elevate Swerve as babyface only to turn him heel to drop the belt to Ospreay in 4 months is a massive disservice to the work Swerve's been doing. I'm not advocating for it by a stretch.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We're exploring possible paths.
Is there a path there? Maybe, but it's not one that I would advocate for.
If
you want to have Ospreay challenge for the title at All In Wembley 2025,
that makes more sense.
That makes all the sense. They've already sold like 40,000 tickets to this one in coming up in August. You want to potentially guarantee yourself that level of ticket sales, if not higher. You spend a year plus building up Ospreay and have him challenge for the world title against, I don't know, whoever, and have him win it there.
I still think Swerve Ospreay, but in 2025. I think at that point you make Swerve a bad guy. Swerve is so much better as a bad guy, and you can do the thing where like every year he does the turn because you know, people just like when he does cool shit. That's all people really want to see is cool shit.
You know, when it gets down to it, I think that's the thing. If Swerve's doing, whether it's babyface or heel, interesting things, he's going to get over.
You're right. And even if he's still a babyface by the time 2025 rolls around in August, hey, that's still fine because you got, you know, two guys who are just really, really good going at it, and then you could do a title change because he's had a really long one. Mm-hmm. That's totally fine. 4 months of being your most over babyface, and then you just, you know, put it on the other hot babyface. I don't like that. I think that's not very good. So in that case, what do you do with Ospreay at All In? Now that we're booking 4 months in advance.
It's kind of a bummer they didn't save Ospreay and Danielson for that show.
Yeah. I mean, you could do Ospreay Okada. Okada's a bad guy. That's a big match. If Okada builds up that the Continental title, they could do that. And plus, that's a match you don't want to overbook. And the Continental rules are everybody fucks off. You know, and that's a hell of a match right there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's a possibility as well. But otherwise, yeah, I thought there was. You say standard Dynamite. Dynamite is often a fairly, I I don't know what the word is, hot and cold show in that, you know,
Yes.
you can have a 2-hour show where there's some badass shit. Ospreay versus Shibata, Swerve versus Takeshita. My goodness, what a
The
great
women's
bookend.
4-way match was really, really good.
That
too.
was awesome.
That was tons of fun. Yeah.
That was great. But then
you
you
got
got
Chris Jericho forgetting like the English language and how to like punctuate things. Like he put words together fine, but there was like too many words before a period happened.
I laughed so hard because I texted you.
Conventions
Man,
of English. That's what I was trying to say. Here I am.
there you go. Yeah. You're a victim of your own words here. I texted you, man, this is bad. And I meant more in a macro sense. You know, like this is just awkward as shit.
It is.
You know, and then the thing that makes me the cringiest punctuation on it is as soon as they dump out of the segment where Hook agrees to hear Chris Jericho's advice, but like in a formal way, I guess. Excalibur says, "Oh, Lion Hook, ooh," and it's like,
They got T-shirts to sell, man.
I can't stand that shit. I
Yeah,
can't stand when they just have to jam everything together. It's so stupid. It's so corny.
You know, here's the thing about it too that Jericho makes his pitch, says, "If you want advice, I'll give it to you, Hook." And what does the first thing Hook say? "I know who you are, Chris Jericho," as in I know your history of turning on people.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of sets that aside and says, "All right, I'll take your advice."
Yeah.
His dad's Taz, you know? It's not like he's coming into the wrestling business without any experience beyond his own experience.
Yeah,
You
right.
know?
Yeah.
He grew up in the business.
Yeah.
I understand Chris Jericho is a legend, considered by some a legend.
Oh, come on. You can't discount the guy's entire career over the last year or so.
He's had a long career.
Maybe
That being said, like, what is Jericho going to tell him that like his dad probably doesn't already know? You know what I mean?
Oh man, I just laughed so hard when was it last night or this morning, whichever one it was.
When I talked about the run-on sentence.
Last night you texted me late because you were watching it late, I guess, and you said Chris Jericho said, man, what did you say? It was something
I
about
said,
a run-on
probably not a good
sentence.
idea to start your promo with the run-on sentence.
And I hadn't really noticed it, and then I watched it this morning just because it made me laugh so much. And I watched it, I'm like, oh my God, that's the longest sentence I've ever heard in my life.
It was pretty long. He doesn't seem comfortable, Jericho.
Oh, he's out of sorts. He's clearly out of sorts.
Clearly, it's like he doesn't know what he's doing.
He knows the knock on him, and he's trying desperately. At this point, it's not even subtle or they're not even trying to hide it under a story. At least with the Jericho Appreciation Society, they had like kind of a story. You know, it was like, we're going to out entertain sports entertainment.
Yeah.
And in doing so, I got 2.0. I got the future of the company, Daniel Garcia. I got the future of the women's division, Anna Jay. And we're going to develop this thing. And, you know, along the way, he ends up, I think Ricky Starks is kind of the jump the shark moment.
Yeah.
And because they told that feud backwards. And so now it's just straight up, hey, young person, I'm going to give you advice, which is just another way of saying, I'm going to latch on to you.
I know.
And drain your life force.
Your star's on the rise. Guess what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Come sit under my learning tree then. Let me give you advice.
I'm going to teach you, Hook, what it is to be the world champion that I know you could be. And I'm like, Hook is like a good 3-4 years away from being close to the world title.
Oh, yeah.
By that time, Jericho really should be gone.
I know.
But like Jericho with this weird, like, Hook, I've seen everything you can do. You really, you with his hands, his Ricky Bobby hands, you dumped me on my head and you pressed me. I'm like, the match wasn't even that impressive. You got caught and the guy kept on spamming the German suplex button.
I know.
The half and half button, whatever it was.
I know. And he was saying, I've never been in the ring with anybody like you. I was like, all right, Chris Jericho, you've had like 2,000 matches. You're telling me you haven't been in the ring with somebody that resembles in some capacity what Hook does in the ring. You wrestled his dad, all right?
Yeah, right, exactly. Who also, if I'm not mistaken, was called the human suplex. Well, all he did is spam the suplex button.
Yes! He dumped people on their head. That's what he did.
Yeah.
So, in fact, you have wrestled somebody like Hook Name was Taz.
Yeah, and probably 100 other guys because, like you said, he's had 2,000 matches.
Yeah, well over 2,000 matches. So don't give me
Yeah.
this line that Hook's one of one. No,
He ain't,
No.
dude. He ain't.
no. I do really like what the Young Bucks are doing with the characters, and I love Okada showing up at the venue to watch their match backstage. He really knows how to toe the line between being over the top, but not like super over the top with his reactions to things. He's just backstage watching their match on the TV, just shaking his head.
I know. He understands the subtleties so well in just like a single shot. I like that. I like what the Young Bucks are doing. I have turned around on them. Matt, I still have a little ways to go, but I'm getting there. Nick still absolutely cracks me up.
You know, if Matt just maybe shortened his promos by 10 to 15%.
Yeah, I think he'd be there. Yeah, I think you're right. But I like the thing, the stuff with them and Renee, and then the little bit where they came out for the other match. I like what they're doing as well. I mean, it seems clear they're on the path to getting those tag titles.
Oh, yeah. They'll beat FTR in the finals,
Yeah. And them and Okada will have his title. And yeah, I think that'll all be good stuff. So I was a fan of that. Otherwise not a lot not to like about it. I mean, I thought that the Mercedes on commentary probably wasn't the best way to use her. It was fairly generic. So she was like, "Oh yeah, me and Willow, we still have unfinished business." And I'm like, all right.
I wonder, because she hasn't been advertised for anything for Dynasty yet. Not granted, there's still several weeks. How close she is to actually getting back in the ring?
I don't know. I mean, do you think they can wait until Double or Nothing? The way she describes it, it was a gnarly injury.
Yeah, two surgeries described as career-threatening or career-ending. Yeah.
And it's not like she's limping around, but also it
takes a while to get back, to get your strength back, your mobility back. Get back to training in the ring, get your timing down, all that. I understand it takes a lot of time from a significant leg injury. I get it.
If she's ready to go now and they don't have her on Dynasty,
yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, that's head scratching.
Yeah,
that would be, I mean, I'm honestly kind of surprised 3 weeks in now they hadn't at least had her in a tag match or something.
Yeah, right. I know. Yeah. Which, I mean, you look at the possible reasons.
Oh,
for
yeah.
that.
I mean, she's
kind
like
of one.
Immediately inserted into a story where, she could be involved in a tag match in some capacity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It is kind of weird.
Maybe they'll do Statlander, Mercedes at Dynasty, or Sky Blue and Mercedes. I don't know. It'll be, some party that's not. Willow's challenging Julia Hart for the TBS title at Dynasty. So
I mean, let's
Mercedes
get to that.
Is kind of
then.
involved in that mix a little bit. So.
Well, yeah, she is. I mean, she's clearly she's got Willow on her mind. I find it difficult to believe that Mercedes is going to cost Willow the title. That's a dangerous game to play also, because Mercedes is going to get cheered because she's Mercedes and she's new and she has that cool CEO chant that everybody loves so much. But then Willow is super babyface.
Yeah.
So I don't know, and I get that there's a history there. But I don't know. They just bringing in, is Mercedes coming in, her first order of business is, I'm going to get back at Willow for, busting my leg, which I get it. That's, unfinished business, as she says. But are they going to put the TBS title on Willow, ditch the Julia Hart experiment, and then just to get that title onto Mercedes, sort of like at the next pay-per-view?
That was what I was thinking, actually. Again, not something I necessarily advocate for, because you don't want to have Willow have that TBS title for 2 months?
Or is Mercedes going to cost Willow the title? And then that could just be a grudge match, which I'd actually be kind of in favor of, because then you'd have a feud that is not necessitated by the title.
Yeah.
And it demands TV time, as does both the titles.
Yeah.
So then you'd have arguably or possibly more room for the women. This is another Dynamite that goes by, though, without two women's matches.
Yeah.
So if there's going to be any changes, thanks to the arrival of Mercedes Moné, we've yet to see it. Anyways, before we get started with the actual recap, now that we're 30 minutes deep into our recap episode, want to point out real quick that we've got bonus episodes, access to our question threads, and of course, access to the Big Blue Predictions Challenge. Oh man, WrestleMania is coming up. Wouldn't you love to be the person who wins Big Blue at WrestleMania, your own WrestleMania moment?
I'd love that, Steve.
Right? Then you need the Friendo Club setup. And how do you get the Friendo Club setup? One of two ways. We offer convenience here at Going In Raw. Number one, by clicking join right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson, or by going over to patreon.com/Steven Larson, clicking on the Friendo Club setup. We have a variety of reward tiers over there, but if you want in on that predictions challenge, $5 a month gets you there by choosing that on the Patreon, the Friendo Club setup, or clicking join right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson. You also get access to our weekly Friendo Cast bonus episodes.
Oh, we're doing that today, aren't we?
And we're doing one of those today too, yeah. And then, of course, access to the question threads, which we use for these episodes that we do 5 days a week.
Indeed. Also, hey, if you're watching this on the YouTube, do us a favor. If you haven't before, hit that subscribe button, that notify bell. We're still trying to get by WrestleMania, by the end of WrestleMania Night 2, 201,102 subscribers. So still about a little bit under 400 away from getting there. I feel like we get some momentum in our favor heading into WrestleMania. Just the anticipation alone for WrestleMania. Hopefully we'll get there. So help start that momentum now. Hit that subscribe button, that notify bell. Also, hit that like button. This one looks like this. Thumbs up.
It's a thumbs up.
It validates all our hard work.
Right, yeah.
Validates us.
I get a little notification on my phone every time the like button is hit, and it's like, Steve, you're great. Steve, you're great. Steve, you're great.
That validation meter just starts going up and up and up and up and
yeah,
up.
Exactly. Yeah,
and also, like, Bob Friendo.
Oh, man.
Our pay is based on how many likes we get.
Yeah, Bob Friendo is a real son of a bitch. He locked us into one of those Machinima-style lifetime-long contracts. But unlike Machinima, Bob Friendo is not going out of business anytime soon. So we're stuck. I think Bob Friendo has been around longer than Machinima has been now. It's kind of like, Monday Night Nitro.
I mean, Friendo's kind of eternal,
Yeah. Because, I think I saw, AEW Dynamite now is on the precipice of
55 weeks away from passing Nitro. Is that what it was?
Yeah. Nitro was not on that long.
No, it wasn't.
But its impact was
massive.
Exactly.
Just like Bob Friendo's impact on our life. Massive.
Exactly.
And you can have a massive impact on our life too by hitting that like button, please. Thank you. We've never met Bob Friendo. Communicates strictly by voice. It's disguised, almost sound like he's in witness protection.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So,
yeah,
mysterious figure. That's why I say we don't know. We know nothing about him.
On his website,
could be eternal. We don't know.
There's an about Bob Friendo, and it's his picture is pixelated. It's backlit and pixelated, like witness protection, unsolved mysteries testimony.
Exactly.
Yeah, Bob Friendo, mystery guy.
Anyways, existed forever as far as we know, Steve.
Yeah, exactly. What's not a mystery though is how Dynamite opened up. Will Ospreay and Katsuyori Shibata. I get nervous whenever I see a Shibata match. Not gonna lie, because they had to take his brain out and put it back in.
Well, that's what those other guys said, Steve.
That was my favorite wrong story from those other guys. They took his brain out and put it back in. I mean, you can't do that.
You can't do that. No, I don't think that's possible. Maybe in his science fiction work.
He's clearly not a medical observer.
No.
He's not a craniologist observer.
No. Neurologist observer, no.
He's not a neurology observer. He's a wrestling observer.
I mean, what can you say? Ospreay versus Shibata. I don't know did you see the little promo that Ospreay did after the match on social medias?
Oh no, was it awesome?
It was pretty good. He says Shibata is like the measuring stick when it comes to pro wrestling.
Yeah, bro.
And you saw how Danielson beat Shibata. Opportunistic pin. You see how I beat Shibata. Storm Driver, Hidden Blade to get the W. Decisive.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah.
So I like that. These little stories they're telling match to match, when two competitors face the same opponent.
Whatever you could do, I could do better, bro.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like
And this
it.
match
I
was
like it.
fantastic, hard-hitting. Shibata basically selling, but effectively in terms of the story they're telling, Ospreay striking offense for the most part. Just there's whole stretches where Shibata was just beating the hell out of Ospreay. It's just a fantastic match. Really good stuff. It was probably... I know Ospreay's only had 2 TV matches. Was this the longest one? Because it was a good 20-some minutes.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like
At least
him
the
versus
segment
Fletcher
was
went a
20
long time. It's
I mean, his match
possible.
against Fletcher was pretty long, too.
That was a really long one, yeah. Yeah. So, possibly.
But anyways, Ospreay gets the win. Ospreay hits him with a backdrop suplex, a hidden blade. Shibata kicks out, so then Ospreay hits the Storm Driver. And then Shibata sits up, cross-legged. And then Will hits him with the hidden blade to get the win. Great stuff.
There were some really good chops in this match, too.
Yeah, there was.
After that, we had a Bryan Danielson video package narrated by Sleepy Excalibur, I think.
Yeah, it was Excalibur.
Yeah, but it was like Excalibur brought down to like 2. Bryan Danielson made his start in Ring of Honor in 2002.
It's like he rolls in the arena and it's like, hey, Excalibur, we got something we need you to do.
Okay,
fine. Can I go get a cup of coffee first?
Puts on the mask. No, we don't need your maskers for that, buddy. Can I get some
a cup
coffee?
of coffee? No, we need you to do this right now.
Needs to happen now. Editors are waiting for you.
Shove the copy in front of him.
Yeah. After that, we had...
it was a good video package, though. It was a lot of the Ring of Honor footage and stuff like that. It was really well done.
Yeah, they got a lot of that. Then we had a Young Bucks interview. It's always funny, too, when they, dance around WWE. After a 3-year absence from the ring, he came back, and he felt
at the
great.
height of his fame or popularity or something like that.
And then he got stacked by the Tribal Chief. Throw your ones up, Excalibur. After that, we had a Young Bucks interview. Renee asked him about facing Private Party, and Nick is like, what is this, an ambush with your negativity? Unprofessional, Renee. Good Lord, is this how you conduct your interviews? Where's Marvez? I want him to conduct this interview, and he's better looking than you.
And then Matt steps in. He's like, whoa, chill out. He says, I have a couple items I want to talk about. First, we came back here to AEW a couple months ago with a couple of goals and objectives. The first one being we wanted to retire Sting's old ass, and we did just that. Second one, we wanted to restructure the Elite. And how do we do that? We made a little bit of room, and we brought in... You could be Nick, Steve.
Oh, the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada.
Matt continues. Speaking of Okada, did you see his Continental title win last week? Holy crap, wasn't that awesome? And he did that all on his own. Everyone's talking about that backstage. He did it fair and square. Of course he did. Just like how we're going to do it tonight. We asked the Rainmaker to come, chill out, watch from the back. We got this. Back to your question. The most important goal out of all the things is to get our AEW tag titles back. And you mentioned the upset because Renee mentions Private Party beat them years ago in the tournament to crown the initial champs. Matt continues. That ruined my life for an entire year, but that's okay. What do you do to right that wrong? Well, you beat them tonight. You beat Private Party because, listen, lightning never strikes the same place twice. Do you know if that's factually accurate, Steve?
Is that because of odds? Like it happens so rarely and infrequently that it...
I didn't know if the wasn't there like a positive negative charge, and when that meets the lightning happens, if once that occurs, then it's neutralized.
Oh, it's another. You can't do that. You're probably scientifically.
I'm not
accurate.
a lightning observer. I don't know these things.
We're not weather observers.
We're not meteorology observers. No. So Matt continues. Renee will be one step closer to getting her titles back. Anyway, you're awesome. You're so good at this, but maybe try smiling a bit more.
Ooh. Oh, you can't say that. Can't say that. Anyways, Okada shows up in a Ferrari, and then we have Young Bucks versus Private Party. Well, this is one of them Young Bucks Private Party matches. You just watch the damn match. It's good stuff. The EVP trigger with the stutter step.
Stutter step, yeah. Yeah, the hezzy, huh?
Yeah, the hezzy.
I mean, they called back to the finish of the time where Private Party beat him, where Young Bucks were going for a Meltzer driver, and it was reversed to a roll-up. That didn't work this time. Private Party did a couple of the Young Bucks moves, more bang for your buck. But down towards the finish, Nick goes down to ringside and grabs the ring bell and brings it in. And Rick Knox is like, "Hey, I let a lot go in tag matches, but I'm not letting this go." So he grabs it from him. So then Zay clotheslines Nick out of the ring. Matt kicks Zay in the nuts in the front area. And then Quinn blasts Matt with one of the tag titles that he got off the podium. Zay covers. Matt gets his bottom foot on the rope. So Quinn goes up to the top, misses a 630. Nick tags in. The Young Bucks hit the Hezzy stutter step EVP trigger to get the win.
Yep.
Guess those Jordan 11s don't have the best grip on canvas.
I guess not. Just like you and I were figuring out, even to this day, which shoes work best on either the canvas or, the court outside. The
court we play on, yeah.
The black
because
top.
grip's important.
It
is. Be slipping and sliding out there.
You end up like a Shutterstock image of an old man having fallen.
I know. We're getting up there in years. We don't want to be,
I know. And you're trying to convince
my hip.
You're trying to convince me. Oh, I can feel it moving around in there. That's the most, honestly, when my dad and I came across that old man who fell outside when it was raining after a Kings game, and he was like holding his hip. He was like, "Oh yeah, I can feel it moving around in there." I was like, "That's disgusting." Okay, drop him, Dad. Let's get out of here. He's like, "No, son, we can't do that." And
you gotta help him.
So he shoved him into his car, and then he was like, "Thank you guys so much. What's your name?" And my dad was like, "No, it's okay." He was like, "I don't want you suing me." And just shoved him into his car. His old bitty wife drove up. She was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Oh, just get me in." You wanted me to do that, pal. Okay. Now you probably got a weird limp. Anyways, after that, we had a Konosuke Takeshita video package. Don Callis saying he's sick of hearing about Swerve's house, but that house is in Don Callis' family's neighborhood. And tonight, Takeshita's going to take everything from me, including the number one contendership. The Alpha burns it all down.
Yeah. Then a vehicle arrives at the arena. Mercedes Moné exits. She's going to be on commentary later for the women's fatal four-way match. But first, this was nice. We get Darby and Tony Hawk talking about the skate park project. So apparently Darby Allin wasn't just going to climb Mount Everest for fun.
Yeah.
He was doing it to benefit the skate park project. So we get a learn about that this year, thanks to Tony Hawk. And then Darby makes some reference to doing something else instead. He's got a busted foot.
I saw that he drove on Twitter anyway.
Oh, yeah, he drove over his house, yeah.
He drove over his house.
Oh, he jumped over his house. He didn't drive over.
It was like a Super Dave thing.
It was like a Super Dave thing, yeah.
What's his name? What's his name in Curb? Funkhauser, right?
Yeah.
He's gonna pull a Funkhauser.
I always think of that joke he told on the.
Oh, it's great. Seinfeld was so repulsed.
I know.
Oh man!
Oh my
so
gosh!
good.
So then we got the Hook and Chris Jericho interview. So Renee asked Jericho about, "Hey, you said last week you had a proposition for Hook. What is it?" And so Jericho says, "Well, I'll tell you what's up, Renee. All right, here's a run-on sentence. There's at least 3 periods you could toss in this. Again, conventions of English.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago, Hook said I wanted to stand across the ring from you. Oh, sorry. I got it wrong immediately. Let me start over. A few weeks ago, Hook, I said I wanted to stand across the ring from you and face you one-on-one to see if you were as good as everyone was telling me you are. And after being in the ring with you, you exceeded expectations and gave me even more. Right out of the gate, you suplexed me on my head. You didn't relent. Like Renee said, you got the biggest victory of your AEW career. Your first pinfall ever in AEW. And I'm okay with that. How condescending is that? Anyways,
I know. Yeah.
I'm actually, this even gets more so. I'm actually quite proud of you for that, because you showed me something that I've never seen from you. I've never had a wrestling school. I've never managed anybody. But I've also never been in the ring with someone like you. Skills that you have are so highly tuned, but they're very raw. Which one is it, Chris? It can't be. They can't be highly tuned and very raw. That's a contradiction.
It's one or the other. It is.
It's a contradiction.
You fine-tune raw ability.
Yes. Now, obviously, your skills are plentiful, but they're all very raw. And then you got some, but they can't be highly tuned and very raw.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is another run-on sentence here. The skills that you have are so highly tuned, but they're very raw. And I want to tell you that after 33 years in this business, if you want any advice that I have, I'll be happy to give it to you to help you sharpen those skills, become world champion. I know you can be. So like I said, if you want my advice, I'm here for you.
Well, I appreciate the praise, Chris. Of course, take advice from you. You're Chris Jericho. But you are Chris Jericho. I know who you are, Chris Jericho.
And Jericho says, okay, well, Hook, I know who you are, but more importantly, I know who you can be.
Bet. Let's get it. Do it. Oh, gosh. After that, we had Willow Nightingale versus Anna Jay versus Chris Statlander versus Sky Blue with Mercedes Moné on commentary piping up here and there. I thought this was awesome. This was just really terrific. Went in and out of the ring. Just really stellar stuff here, man.
Yeah, pace was great. Spots were great. Storytelling was a lot of fun. The whole idea that Willow and Statlander didn't really cross paths in this match until they had a bit of a face-off, and then Sky Blue takes them out with a double clothesline, and then later on Willow kind of inadvertently pounces Statlander.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, to sow a little bit of maybe tension between the two of them.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of like different angles they can take with all 5 of the women sort of involved in this situation.
Yeah.
And well, actually, I should say 6. Sorry, because yeah, that's right. Julia Hart's the actual champion. Yeah, there's a lot they can go with this, and I hope they. You know, dude, if you shave a couple minutes off one match, a couple minutes off another match, you're not going to hurt those matches. You can give another match to the women's division. You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't be that difficult.
No, I know it shouldn't be that difficult. Finish saw Statlander looking to hit Anna Jay with Wednesday Night Fever. Instead, Anna reverses that to a roll-up. Statlander kicks out. Anna then kicks Statlander off the apron to the floor. Willow gets in the ring, hits Anna with a doctor bomb to get the win. A lot of really good stuff in this match. Go check it out. So then Julia Hart comes in and blasts Willow from behind with the TBS title. And then she turns and looks at Mercedes at commentary. So Mercedes gets out of her seat, walks closer to the ring. Statlander, though, gets in the ring to check on Willow. And then Julia slides out and walks up the ramp with Sky Blue. Really good stuff.
Yep.
Speaking of things they could potentially cut from the show, no disrespect to Butcher or Dustin Rhodes, but I don't know if this interview was necessary.
Okay, so I feel like they could have cut a minute out of Chris Jericho's run-on sentences.
Absolutely.
And devoted it to this, because the mustache line alone I thought was pretty.
It was great. I mean, that redeemed this segment if nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
Wager a guess, Steve. What does the Butcher's mustache smell like?
I'm gonna say a lawnmower that's just been brought back out because of the season it was in a shed.
So it's got that kind of vague gasoline smell.
Kind of like old gasoline, but also with some mulch. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember what it was. One time he came down to the ring eating something. Like a pork chop or something. So I'm going to say it smells like pork chop. Butcher
and the Blade really could have been like a healthier version of the War Raiders, you know, like in WWE.
I know.
And then eventually they were just like, well, they're not really doing much with us, so I'm going to start giving you the let me tell you something. And eventually Butcher just became Andy. You know?
Yeah, I know.
And
yeah, there's no pro wrestler voice in this back and forth.
No, it was just Andy. It was just him. It was just guitarist for band, you know?
Yeah.
Which is fine. He seems like a cool guy. Like, regardless, the dude seems hella cool.
Yeah.
And the mustache line was great. Maybe we need more Andy. Maybe Andy could be world champion.
Who knows?
But yeah, I thought this was all right. You're right. Who gives a shit? But Andy gets to be on Dynamite on Wednesday.
I won't
so does Dustin. So good for them, you know.
So Renee's asking Dustin Rhodes, what's next for you? Dustin says 2024 started with a bang. Everyone on the roster is talented. Every match I've had in AEW has been really good. He says, surprisingly, right now at 55, I'm still as passionate as I've ever been, and that's what Butcher steps in. And Dustin makes a reference to a smell, and Butcher says, "Yeah, my mustache has a musk.
It has its own musk."
And says, like, "Well, yeah, I heard you want to fight. Let's have a fight on Rampage." And Dustin says, "You got it."
Yeah, that'll be good. I'm not gonna watch it, but that'll be good. After that, it's Friday night. That's Steve's time. After that, we had Tony Storm visiting Turner Classic Movies with Ben Mankiewicz. He congratulates. I forget, is Ben Mankiewicz, is he related to Mank?
Maybe. I'll check.
I think the guy from Dateline is, but is Ben Mankiewicz and Mankiewicz from Dateline related?
I'll check.
Anyways, find out. He congratulates Tony Storm on being champion. Tony congratulates him, tells him to crispen his pronunciation. And he's like, "Oh, we don't really do that. We don't use the word crispen in the United States." She says, "Repeat after me. Chin up." He says, "Chin up." Tits out. Says, "I'm not going to say that." And watch out for the shoe. And he was like, I don't even know what that means. And then Tony walks off, throws the shoe, and says, well, that was weird. That was pretty funny.
So Ben Mankiewicz's father is Frank.
Uh-huh.
Who is related to Herman Mankiewicz.
Mank.
Who wrote Citizen Kane, yes.
Right, okay. And then I think Dateline Guy is related to him as well, if not mistaken. So they might be cousins.
Could
Ben
be,
and
yes.
Dateline Mankiewicz. I forget what that dude's Mankiewicz name is. Anyways.
Yeah.
Josh Mankiewicz? Is that who he is? Dateline Mankiewicz. Mank. Josh, I was right.
Oh, so Josh and Ben are brothers.
Oh, they're brothers.
Yeah, they're both sons.
Wow. Interesting. Why didn't he call 911? After that, we had Swerve Strickland video package. He says, tonight it comes down to Swerve and Takeshita for who's number one. To truly be number one, you've got to hold the AEW World title. Takeshita is one of the best in the world, but our motivations are different. Mine is for something larger than me, to make history. When I finally get Joe one-on-one for that world title, you'll never forget what I do to you. And then Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta versus Kingdom.
This is a match for the tag tournament.
Yes, yeah. And of course, Orange Cassidy's in it, so he gets the win here.
Yeah, he does. Well, actually, no, Trent got the win.
Well, sorry, I meant that Orange
Best
Cassidy
friends.
gets to move on. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was a fun match. Roderick Strong got involved at one point, gets on the apron to distract Trent. And Orange as they're about to hug. Chuck Taylor's ringside. He gets Roddy off the apron. Orange hits Roderick Strong with the suicide dive. Kingdom are setting up for that assisted pile driver finisher, but then Chuck knocks Taven off the top rope while the ref's distracted, and then Trent rolls up Mike Bennett to get the win. Afterward, best friends about to do the hug. Young Bucks come up through the Cody Vader to interrupt.
Yeah. Then they just go back down the Cody Vader.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
It was pretty funny. No real point to it beyond just being there.
Yeah, exactly. Making their presence known. After that, we had a Kyle O'Reilly, cool Kyle interview.
Yeah.
With a quitter of a white shirt and his hat on backwards, hair long, looking like he just woke up from a nap. Renee asks how it felt being back in the ring. He's like, it felt good, like ripping off the Band-Aid, but there's a deep roster in AEW. Renee says, you got any second thoughts about not aligning with the Kingdom? He says, I still love those guys, but no. Next week, I'm going to have a match on Dynamite to prove I still belong.
At some point, he's going to join up with them or they're going to turn on him.
I'd like for him to join. He was really fun in the Undisputed Era.
He was a lot of fun.
And I feel like him, along with the other three, do some like in-house vignettes, and it'd probably be high entertainment, honestly.
It really would.
Be.
I know.
Cole just sitting in his, in his duster and his smoking a pipe and sitting in a chair next to a fireplace or whatever he's doing
study.
now.
Yeah.
In his study. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Kyle comes in playing air guitar and
right. It writes itself. Just let those guys improv.
I know. It'd be tons of fun. I know they're trying to do serious, undisputed Kingdom. Come on. The chemistry between all of them is great.
Mm-hmm.
Let them do fun stuff. After that, we got a Cope video package. So after he won the TNT title, he's like, I'm going to bring back the Cope Open. The challengers for the TNT title.
The Adam Copen.
Yeah.
And then we had our main event, Swerve Strickland versus Konosuke Takeshita. My goodness gracious. Stuff. Just really awesome stuff right here. Really awesome stuff.
Kind of the turning point in this match is Swerve's looking for a suplex. Takeshita reverses that into a brain buster. And Swerve's holding his neck and his shoulder like the rest of the match at one point. Like Takeshita's got the best forearms probably in the whole business.
Yeah.
And Swerve's trying to respond with strikes of his own. He goes for one, his neck gives out. Takeshita ends up kicking out of a house call Swerve Stomp combo. Swerve looks for the JML driver. Takeshita escapes that. Swerve hits a headbutt. Takeshita hits a jumping knee, looking for a pop-up powerbomb, but Swerve counters that with a stomp.
That was crazy.
It was great. Hits the JML driver to get the win. There's all sorts of great back and forth. This match is fantastic. That Poison Rana, it boggles my mind. Like, Takeshita's a large dude.
Yeah.
He's probably, 6'3", 250, something like that?
Yeah, he's a big guy.
that he can do the power stuff. He could do the striking stuff. He's hitting topes.
Mm-hmm.
He's jumping up and hitting a poison rana with ease.
Yeah.
Like his versatility, the breadth of his arsenal, and the fact that he's seemingly effective in basically any style he chooses to wrestle in.
Yeah.
It's damn impressive.
It really is, yeah. The Poison Rana is still a move that really confuses me.
How no one gets hurt, you mean?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I mean, I kind of get it. Like, at one point, I think I had it figured out, and then I forgot. So I'll just see if I can remember how to.
The basic idea is the person giving it their legs brace the head so the neck doesn't compress.
I think that's the situation, but it's like, goddamn, how does a guy taking it, like, he just, like, doing, like, basically, like, a standing, like, backflip is crazy. But they're also being carried kind of to a degree by the guy giving it also. Yeah. It's weird.
I think between the legs bracing the impact so the neck doesn't compress and your momentum of kind of just going backwards.
It's weird.
I wonder how much really the impact is on the top of the head. I don't know. I mean, that's just from someone watching.
Everybody seems to get up just fine from it. It's like, I've never seen anybody get hurt from it.
You've seen when Kota Ibushi wrestled the blow-up doll, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When he takes, 9 straight destroyers?
Yeah, right, yeah.
I mean, it's him landing on his head basically 9 times in a row.
Yeah, true, yeah.
I know he has his hands down to kind of brace himself.
Or
his elbows.
Yeah, they get the arms up like that. Yeah. Still. If you and I tried that shit, oh my God.
Oh, yeah. Wrecked.
We would just felt like there's nothing would happen. We would collapse,
Yeah, I know. I would instantly shrink about 3 inches just from the compression of my spine.
Yeah, right. Anyways, we got the win there with the JML driver after a stomp. Backstage, Renee is with Samoa Joe to get his reaction on facing Swerve. And he says, how do I feel? What's baffling to me is how he's feeling right now. This is a man celebrating the biggest fate he's ever going to catch in his life. Next week, Swerve, when you walk down that ring and sign on that dotted line, I'm going to make sure you understand what you're asking for. You think you're ready? No. You're not that man. He was wrong. He is that man.
Yeah.
Anyways. Would you like to answer some questions?
Let's answer some questions. Yeah.
Would you like to look at the television, Mr. Lee?
All right. Chris Stanton has. I've seen this sentiment on social media, so I suppose we could talk about this. Chris Stanton asks, is the bloom already off the rose with Mercedes Moné?
Ooh, wow. Was there ever a bloom in the first place? I don't know, man. Like, can we give it a month first? Can we give it a match first? I mean, look. Maybe if she's not cleared to go, maybe they should have been transparent about that the way they were with Will Ospreay, because look at how wonderfully that's turned out.
It worked out, yeah.
So maybe there is an element of we should probably be transparent with her status, and as soon as she shows up within a week, we'll know when to expect her debut. Then we're not going to sit here like a couple idiots. When is she going to get in the ring? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It asks the questions, or the conversation turns to what they don't want it to be, which is she going to wrestle at some point?
Yeah. I mean, assuming that she's ready to go or will be by Dynasty, I feel like the sooner they announce a match for her, probably the better.
Once she goes and we get involvement with stuff in matches, then I'll be willing to say that, yeah, okay, the bloom is still on or the bloom is off if it sucks.
Yeah. I mean, it's I don't know. It's too soon to make any sort of assessment in that regard. Yeah.
John Kingdom says, which submission maneuver would be the going in Raw signature for all friendos to master? He offers up 3 ideas. Cattle mutilation. I know you're a big fan of that.
Good one.
Stretch muffler.
Love that one too.
Or octopus stretch. To me, it's the stretch muffler. It's got the name and it's a badass move.
It is. It's got the best name by far.
It does have the best name. Stretch.
See, cattle mutilation looks hard to pull off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you got to bridge and then have the arms trapped and stuff. I couldn't do that.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Stretch muffler, you just wrap someone's leg around your neck.
We should do a video, Friendo Club video, where we go down to like the gym or something, put some mats down, and then you and I just try to get into submission moves.
I could put you in a figure 4 or sharpshooter. I know I could do that.
Yeah, those are easy ones.
Ankle lock, that's easy. That's super easy.
Come on, that one's easy. Yeah, but some more, the Walls of Jericho. That's pretty easy.
That's pretty easy. Yeah.
What's the Cloverleaf? That's probably pretty easy. I think.
Yeah. Blake Whitehouse here says, I have the potential to go to Dynasty, but it's 2.5 hours away, and all the non-nosebleed seats are over $400. If you were in my shoes, what would you do? So let's assume we're not Steven Larson podcast hosts who have to sit here and watch Dynasty.
Yeah.
For business reasons. We're Steven Larson wrestling fans.
Yeah.
The option to drive nearly 3 hours away
to
pay $400 for a seat for a pay-per-view, a long one at that, would you do it?
Not a fucking chance. No. God, no. But I'm not Blake Whitehouse. If we're talking unlimited wealth, are we talking about limo service all the way there? Maybe some escorts. I mean, what's the situation? Unlimited glizzies? Do we have glizzy service?
All right, now that's a conversation I'll have.
Right? I mean, this is what I'm talking about. 2 hours in a limo?
With hot dogs?
With unlimited glizzies?
Yeah. Are they going to be the 12-inch? Are they going to be as advertised?
Yeah, are they going to be as advertised? 12 inches of glizzy. These are the questions really that need to be answered. And then it's unlimited wealth. So, like, are we talking front row? Are we talking suites? 2 suites?
Yeah, 1 suite for each of us.
Right, 2.
Here's another thing too. I don't know if this $400 price tag is including the fees on top of the face value of the ticket.
Yeah, right.
I had a conversation with you last night via text about how concert tickets, I'm sure wrestling pay-per-view tickets, I mean, we saw with WrestleMania last year. I've never really looked at this year's WrestleMania, the cost. Event tickets are through the roof, the price tags for them. I am officially priced out of probably ever getting a good seat at a concert ever again, because I'm not willing to pay $300, $400, $500, $800 for a good spot. I remember we can go to a good show I remember going to Pearl Jam shows we can get in for $50.
Yeah, right, dude. Yeah.
Those days are done.
And that's when you're guaranteed a set list that's going to be banger after banger.
Yeah.
Man, the one revelation I've really come across. Somebody asked the other day, what's the last time you had an epiphany? I honestly think that it was, if you take 10 out of Pearl Jam's discography, or I'll say this, 10 and everything preceding it. Like, the single soundtrack, stuff like that.
Gotcha. Yeah.
If you take all that stuff out, those sessions, they're kind of a mid-band. They are. Versus the last one, I got to listen to that one again. But, like, I listened to Yield last night. Thought it was fine. But nothing
great. It's consistently fine.
Yeah. Like, it's all right. Like, I even have, like, Do the Evolution's fine, but I'll tell you, man, and I think I brought this, I know I've talked about this topic with you, this idea with you. I think I brought it up on Wrestle Juice as well, and as it pertains to something, I forget what. But bands are best when they're hungry, like literally hungry, Like, on 10, you can hear that Eddie Vedder probably makes around $8,000 a year. And then once 10 blew up, hey, I got a lot of money going on right now. But while they were recording 10, that dude was broke as a joke. Maybe they got an advance from the studio, but I don't know. He was broke.
They aren't broke anymore, Steve, based on the prices they're charging for this tour.
They are fat. Metaphorically, they all seem like they're in pretty good shape. And clearly happy. Because, then by the time Vitalogy came around, they were just talking. They were just singing about nonsense. There was no more like, oh man, this is vital stuff. It was like, on Yield, like, oh, dude, the Evolution, rich people are terrible. So are you. You're rich. What are you talking about? I don't know. Mid-band.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you take 10 out, 10 is like their crowning achievement. First thing they did.
Everything since then, downhill.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been worse. All
right.
I mean, hey, our best thing was probably 10 for the win.
Yeah.
Ever since then.
No, We Book Raw is our best thing.
Yeah, We Book Raw was pretty epic.
Alex Foster says, what faction would you guys last longer in? House of Black or House of Torture?
House of Torture. Go out there and be a clown. Done.
Yeah. Yeah, I could do
what
that.
What do we do every day?
Yeah. House of Black, you got to look like serious and imposing. I can't do that.
I do have that picture where I look really cool with a bunch of tattoos like on my neck and everything. But, the goth makeup, the leather.
You could give an opportunity to wear your metal vest, though.
Yeah, I know. But now I just look like, midlife crisis dad.
Yeah.
Not a good look. House of Torture, I feel like half those dudes are midlife crisis dads. That's their whole vibe.
Yeah, I know.
Dave Matushek, since Trick versus Mello is main eventing Stand and Deliver next week, what kind of Philly references do you think we should get for the bitch?
Oh, interesting.
Isn't the Phillies the one that has that silly mascot?
Philly Fanatic, yeah.
Yeah, the Philly Fanatic. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I got nothing.
Yeah,
they're going to do like a cheesy Rocky is everything and be like, Trick running up steps. But I think they're going to do that with Cody probably.
Yeah, I think they're probably going to do that with Cody.
I'd buy it more from Trick.
Yeah. Doc Hensla says, who do you think will be the next wrestling great to have a send-off like Sting?
Oh, wow. Orton.
Cena?
Cena? You think Cena's going to have a big send-off?
I don't know if he wants one based on how he's kind of talked about his career winding down, but if WWE thinks that they could book a show and make some money around it and send off for him, they might push for it. It'd be cool. It'd be cool if WWE did sort of like more, I don't know. Remember like Ric Flair's last match had the pay-per-view called Ric Flair's Last Match? Yeah. Be kind of cool if they did specials like that, Yeah. They had like, they had the Shield's last thing or something when Jonathan Good was leaving. They should do more of that kind of shit. Mm-hmm. Oh, King Pertov. Sorry, Steve. This is a good question. Bischoff cooking TK on X is incredible. TK kind of turned it around on him today, or tried to. What are your favorite wrestling real-life feuds?
Oh, probably Brett and Goldberg.
Yeah.
Because it seemed to come out of nowhere.
Yeah. That's one of those that'll kind of like subside for a bit and then...
Yeah.
And it's always the same stuff. There's nothing new about it. It's just the same stuff.
It's pretty harmless, too. Like, nobody's getting, like, physical over it. Nobody's getting hurt over it. It's just Brett blasting Goldberg at every turn. It's kind of funny.
It is. Timor here says, it's now been over a year since your AEW is broken video. It's been that long. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Was uploaded on the Friendo Club channel. What changes for the positive do you think AEW have done since that video?
Oh.
It seems like it's not perfect. It seems like in 2024, Tony Khan has decided this is what AEW is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As opposed to large stretches of basically the entire year, most of 2023. This Continental Classic and onward, it seems like, all right, I know what I want this company to be now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then for much of 2023 and a good chunk of 2022, that wasn't the case. It felt like they were trying all sorts of things and stuff wasn't working. Should we be WWE Light? Should we be the wrestling show? And it would change week to week. There was no cohesive vision. And now it kind of feels like there's a vision for what they want AEW to be.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that they have managed to figure out the proper formula for the proper ratio of wrestling and telling stories within wrestling. And, okay, this is how much time we're going to dedicate to promos to build up these things. I think it's at a pretty decent ratio right now. I think that it's at its best, you've got, some Will Ospreay, Bryan Danielson stuff, which I think is really, really good. Or at best, you've got, Swerve and Joe. And then, previously with Hangman in it. I think there's a lot to like about what they're doing right now. Obviously, like you said, it's not perfect, but I think that they've found a really good balance. And I think some of that might be like the people that they've signed, the people that they've given the ball to run with, and maybe some of the creative minds as well that are there. They seem to have found a good rhythm, and these people understand how to tell the stories.
Yep.
There in AEW. So I think that's what they've done right.
Yep, same.
AJ Otani says, favorite wrestler you booked for ACW, Action Coast Wrestling, and your favorite Action Coast Wrestling match. He says, we don't get to hear much about Action Coast. We're sort of like angel investors now for Action Coast because, the way the local wrestling political scene is, we can't be too hands-on, so we leave it to our dude, Magnum to handle the stuff. But, the bags of money keep flowing in, and that's what we've been doing. What? You seem confused.
It's a conversation for off air. Never mind.
Oh yeah. No, there's a bunch of bags of money here with ACW written on them in the corner over here.
For us?
Well, they're in my office.
Well, so it'd be for us.
I mean, yeah, you'd think so. But Bill Friendo, he's got to get his take also. No, honestly, like the main thing about Action Coast is the scheduling of events will often be, honestly, because of the local wrestling scene. Everybody preceding the Steven Larson era sort of decided these are the dates that we're going to work on, and then we ended up changing venues out to Pacheco. Kind of hard to get out there for some of the shows.
Yeah.
But no, our heart is still with Action Coast.
Yes.
And I don't know, man, right now our champion is Christina Von Eerie. She's probably my number one wrestler there because she's the champion right now. She's also kind of a local legend. So, shout out to her, Action Coast Wrestling. I also had like a bit of a hand in designing our current championship title, which I think is pretty cool. Like it sprang from an idea, and then like the belt maker guy, title maker, changed it around a little bit. It looks awesome. Looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks great. It's a good looking title. Yeah.
So there you go. Favorite matches, of course, when we became. It was a tag match where we became the owners.
Yeah, of course. I was going to say the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
B. Ryan Luckman says you're each allowed to take one wrestler from time and space, and you are their Adam Cole-style manager in AEW. Which wrestler are you picking? Any wrestler from the history of wrestling. You get to be their Adam Cole-style manager in AEW. Who's it going to be?
Adam Cole-style manager, though. Like,
you get to sit in the study.
Okay.
Story time with Steve here.
Who's ready for story time with Steve here?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll be honest with you. Bruno might have been a cash cow.
Yeah.
Or Austin. Maybe Austin. Whoever made the most money. I'd be like, Austin, we don't need to hear a promo from you this week, okay?
Yeah, we got this guy here. He's got the story time segment.
Yeah, and then it'd say, who wants to hear story time with Phil McDonald?
There you go. You do story time with, you change your wrestling name to be Phil McDonald.
Yeah.
And you do story time, but your Stone Cold voice.
Right, exactly. But
Rather
I'm also
than having
managing
Stone Cold talk.
Yeah, managing Stone Cold, exactly, yeah.
When in doubt, I always choose Sid.
Oh, yeah. But, dude, you have to go from company to company. You'd have to be the way, if you're managing him, if it's like a Paul Ellering situation, you're actually managing him.
Hey, here's the thing, though. When negotiating these deals, I'm like, all right, these months, that's softball season. Don't count on him being there. Or at least not there all the time.
Do you think, yeah, but here's the thing. I think Sid didn't make that clear up front.
But I'm saying as his manager, I would.
Yeah, but then Sid would sit you down and be like, hey, listen, brother, you're losing us money. This is what we do. Vince looks at me and wants to make me the new Hulk Hogan. You say yes. But then once softball season comes, we leave. He's like, we do Mania, get the big payday main event. If you tell Vince in advance that softball season's after Mania, he's not going to book you in the main event of Mania. He's trying to make you the next Hogan. You need that payday. So you got to keep that from him.
But I would say this to Sid in retort. I would say, Sid, all of these bridges you're burning, all this trust you're losing by up and leaving in the middle just to go play softball, that's not doing you any favors. You got to be transparent up front with people.
No, here's the thing. Yeah.
Maybe we can work with the schedule. What nights do you play softball? And don't say all. You got to
every.
All right. No synonyms for all or every.
What's the synonym? I'm Sid.
Give me 3 nights a week that you absolutely must play softball, and I'll get you those nights off.
Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday.
That's 7. I need 3.
Okay, all right, brother. How about this? May, June, July.
Those are months.
Oh, my bad.
I need days.
My bad. Okay, 92, 93, 94.
Those are just consecutive numbers. Unless you want those 3 days out of the year, you want guaranteed, but I don't feel like that's the case.
Sorry, I should have confirmed 1992, 1993, 1994.
Those are just years. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
You're not. I'll take care of the business. I'll let you know when to play softball. I'll let you know when to show up to wrestle.
Sounds good. I want that Hogan money. Make sure you make it happen.
People can count on you. You'll get the Hogan money.
Yeah, people can count on me to say that I'm going to be there.
Whether I show up or not. That's
Whether I show up or not. Also, I'm not losing to anybody who's 6'2" and under. Because it doesn't make any sense. Bulldog says, do you think that Monet is only in TV to buck the trend of debuts disappearing acts that has happened for every other wrestler? Feel like she's losing her luster after her debut. Yeah. Listen, everybody, you got to give her time, okay? Give her time. Yeah. Jade Cargill got signed 3 years ago to WWE. She ain't shown up for a couple backstage segments. And then once she does, and it's all going to be really, really cool, and no luster's gone.
Yes.
They probably should have done this a little bit different with Mercedes. You just wait until she gets a couple matches in, wins a title, and then we'll be able to talk about whether the luster's there or not.
Exactly.
We'll be good. Anyways, that is going to do it for the show today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Until next time, we'll see you around.
Goodbye.